Paul Charles Caravello was born on the 12th of July 1950 to his parents Albert and Connie Caravello. He was of Italian descent. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York. His father Albert did work a lot and he didn't have him around that much. Eric attended the High School of Art and Design. He wanted to be a cartoonist, but he later changed his mind and instead started to study photography. He felt like he wasted every single day of high school getting drunk with his friends, getting no work done basically. But other than that, he was often described as a very good kid. Because of his strong love for the Beatles, he did have a haircut that Carr himself described as a Beatles haircut. While in high school, Eric did start to play with a number of bands, performing mostly covers of top 40 songs. Carr stated that top 40 in those ages were everything: funk, ballads, rock, country, everything. It was a great time for radio. Carr's first band was called Cellarmen, and they formed in 1965 by him and several friends. They started playing in a number of different clubs in Brooklyn and in Queens. Only a few of their recordings were released by Jody Records label, a small Brooklyn-based recording studio. After that, Eric joined another band called Things That Go Bump in the Night, and later he joined a band called Smack, which consisted of mostly members from Cellarmen that had disbanded in 1968. In 1967, Carr did graduate from high school. At that time, riots started occurring in New York, followed by white flight, and this made the neighborhood that Eric Carr was currently living in more predominantly African American. Sorry, I said riots. I think it's called riots. I don't know why I said riots. But however, Carr did not consider this a concern for him, since he grew up with black friends and he didn't really think in that way. In 1970, Carr joined the band Salt and Pepper. They started out as a cover band, playing songs from several genres, and the band was actually called Salt and Pepper because half of the members were white and half of the members were black. But however, in 1973 the band changed their name to Creation and they started playing disco music instead. In 1974 a fire broke out during a discotheque gig at Gulliver's nightclub in Port Chester, New York, killing dozens of people, including the band's lead singer and keyboardist. Eric, however, escaped the fire and he did save another person's life in the process, one of the band's female singers. It was later determined that the fire was started by a thief in a building nearby, hoping to cover his tracks. The band kept going, sometimes under the name Bionic Boogie. Carr would continue on with the band until 1979, which was the year that the band broke up. The band had some success. They performed as opening acts for established names such as Stevie Wonder and Nina Simone. Eric described the band as basically his family for 9 years. In December of 1979, Carr successfully auditioned for a 4-piece rock and roll band called Flasher. After 3 weeks of rehearsal, the band started playing at clubs. At this time, Eric had become discouraged about a musical future after so many years trying to make it without a breakthrough. He did consider to settled down with a non-musical career. Quote, "We were making real lousy money, something like $10, $7 a night. Really, really terrible. Just by contrast, I used to make $15 a night when I was like 16 years old, and here I am, almost 30 years old, and I'm making $7 a night. So I wasn't doing better, obviously. I was going in reverse, you know." Flasher played the club circuit in New York City and Long Island for several months before the band's keyboard player, Paul Chirino, quit. They then continued as a power trio, with the three members sharing vocal duties. The band played songs by Joe Jackson, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, and Jimi Hendrix. However, the bookings did diminish, and Eric handed in his resignation in 1980. He considered quitting music, having reached the age of 30 without any larger success. But shortly after that, Eric met with Paul Chirino in a club in Queens. Paul there told Eric that Kiss drummer Peter Criss was departing from the band, and Chirino urged Carr to audition to become the next Kiss drummer. Eric applied for the role as Kiss' new drummer by submitting a cassette tape of Kiss' current single, Shandy, with his voice over the music instead of Paul Stanley's voice. He put the application in a bright orange envelope to make it stand out. Kiss staffer Jane Grodd told Eric later that she noticed it because of the bright colour, and she picked it out of the pile to be reviewed. When he sat outside the room for his audition, Carr saw the three Kiss members, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley, walk by him and enter the room. He was one of the few people outside of the band members' circle of friends, family and music business partners to see Kiss without their stage makeup. At that time, Carr later stated that he knew who Paul was right away, but that he, however, was not that sure about the others. Eric was the last drummer to audition for the band. He asked Stanley, Simmons and Frehley to autograph the list of songs he was going to play with the band in case he never saw them again. He later stated, quote, "But I knew I had it." Though his audition was videotaped. He knew the arrangements better than the band themselves did from learning the recorded versions of Kiss albums. Quote, "They had been on tour and changed little things around," Carr stated. He also later stated that he was not that very impressed with Kiss' performance at his audition. Quote, "They were awful. I had to remind them, no, I sing this harmony using that one." And things like that. He though did state that he thought it was great that they immediately worked together, and he knew that it impressed them. An advantage for Carr was his anonymity. It was important for the band to keep a mystique around the band and their members. Paul Stanley stated, quote, "It was really important to us that we got somebody who was unknown. We didn't want somebody who last week was in Rod Stewart's band or in Rainbow." The press release announcing the induction of Carr into Kiss took away 3 years from his actual age to confuse people who were seeking out information about his true identity. After Eric passed the audition for the band, he had some trouble coming up with a persona and stage name for him before his debut concert with the band. Gene Simmons stated that Eric originally considered going by the name Rusty Blade, but Gene, however, told him not to. He then decided on Eric Carr quite carefully. Carr was shortened from his birth name, Caravello, and Eric he chose from a list of names his girlfriend at the time had given him. Paul Caravello, however, remained his legal name. For his initial Kiss persona, Eric tried the hawk, but the concept, however, was very hard to realize in grease paint, and a makeup design for this persona was never created. The hawk costume was bright orange yellow, and the idea was dropped after Paul Stanley mentioned that it looked like a big bird. That kind of throws me off a bit. Isn't like the hawk, it's a bird, you know? A hawk is a bird. Isn't the costume supposed to look like a big bird if the persona, so to speak, is based off of a bird? That kind of throws me off a little bit, but whatever. Eric came up with the makeup design for the Fox persona only 2 weeks before his stage debut. Gene Simmons liked it, and so Eric Carr's persona was born. The original design for it was modified within days of Carr's first photo sessions with the band. Eric Carr was introduced to the public on an episode of the television youth show Kids Are People Too, filmed in late July of 1980, and it aired in September of 1980.
We at Kids Are People Too are going to help Kiss welcome their newest member. So please give a big hand for the Fox, Eric Carr. Yeah!
What a cute guy. What a cute guy.
Well, what do you think, girls? Is he a fox or what?
Think he's a fox? That was a very quick vote of yes, I think. What a welcome there, I think. Eric, how's it feel now to be a member of KISS, which is not only a terrific rock group, but a phenomenon almost?
It's great, Michael. It's like a dream come true for me.
Really? What did you think the first moment you knew you were going to be with him?
I was very positive through the whole thing. You know, I just felt from the very beginning that it was going to happen to me and that it was going to be right, you know. I wish everybody sometime in their life could have an experience like this. It'd be great.
Carr's first public performance with the band was in New York City's Palladium on the 25th of July 1980. Carr's parents were warned not to tell anyone about their son being a member of the band KISS, to again maintain this mystique about the band and their members. But they did, however, attend the debut concert that Eric had with the band, and they were recognized by a friend who used to work at the same repair shop as Carr. And this former co-worker had no idea whatsoever that his former co-worker was in the band. Immediately after joining KISS, Carr did actually still do a few stove repairing jobs. For Christmas in 1980, the KISS organization bought Carr a Porsche so that their new drummer could ride around in appropriate Rockstar style. The car, however, broke down a lot and actually caused Carr quite a lot of grief. Eric kept the Fox persona for 3 years until the band's well-publicized removal of their stage makeup. In September of 1983, live on MTV.
This is a really big moment. After 10 years together, exclusively here on MTV this evening, we're going to see KISS without their makeup for the very first time. Vinnie Vincent, lead guitarist and co-writer of many of the songs on the current KISS album. Eric Carr, drummer, has been with the band since 1979. And KISS is, by the way, the very first band that Eric has ever been with. Paul Stanley, rhythm guitarist and lead vocalist. Paul is a co-founder of the group. Gene Simmons, bass, also co-founder of Kiss. He is the fire-breathing, blood-spitting monster of Kiss.
The band's drastic move came after the sales of their albums declined and a poorly attended US tour. At that time, Carr was afraid that the band was coming to an end, but the band would, however, soon turn to another page in the Kiss story. After the removal of the stage makeup, the band again started to thrive. Eric earned himself a reputation among fans as being very friendly and approachable. He answered more fan mail than the other members of the band did, and he often added a message with his autographs. Despite Eric being a replacement member for an original band member, he gained a high amount of popularity among Kiss fans for his personality.
Eric never has a second cup of coffee at home. Get out of here. He's putting, look at him. Look at him putting the saccharin in the coffee. Look how he does that, with gloves on. Took me years to learn that, you know that. Okay.
So this is going to be a serious discussion.
Pretty serious already.
So Eric, hello.
Hello.
What about you?
No kids yet, soon.
Soon?
Yes. Tell him. Yeah, last night. Last night, yeah, really. No, I mean, I'm working on some outside projects. I'm managing an all-female thrash band called Eric Carr, and I'm working with them, developing them. And I'm also working on a cartoon, an animated cartoon rock band that I've written music for, and Bruce and I worked on and, you know, played all the stuff. And Gene is helping with us trying to get the thing off the ground. I'm shopping it to animators and toy companies and things like that. So if that happens, that's going to be really cool. That's it. And I have no time for anything else. So leave me alone.
And his percussion skills. My brother was so kind as to let me borrow his book. My little brother is a huge Kiss fan. He actually has an entire Kiss collection, you know, of books. He only has one book actually, but I'm planning to buy him another Kiss book for Christmas this year. He has like little tiny miniature Kiss drums and Kiss guitars and actually Gene's bass. So he's a huge Kiss fan and he loves Kiss, and he actually has a few vinyls that he occasionally plays and we sing along to them. He was actually the person that introduced me to the Kiss world and to the Kiss army and to the Kiss history and all that. I don't think I would have started listening to them as much as I do these days if it weren't for his interest in Kiss. But anyhow, he was so kind as to let me borrow his book called Kiss i Sverige. And that means Kiss in Sweden. And I don't know if there might be an English version of this book. Maybe. I don't know. It would be weird though. Other people from other countries, I don't think would be that interested in Kiss in Sweden, you know. But maybe. However, he borrowed me this book and I have some facts from that book that I'm going to read to you now. Yes. So I read in this book that is written by Johan Falk and Ronny Lundell, or Ronny Lundell as you say in my accent, that Eric was actually quite shy privately. And I also read in this book that Eric, during Kiss Lick It Up tour in 1983, received a self-made bracelet by a fan backstage in Gothenburg that he actually wore for an entire concert. Kiss 1981 album Music from the Elder was Eric Carr's first album with the band. One of Eric's contributions to the album is called Under the Rose, and it features a Gregorian chant-style chorus. He would also get co-writer credits on All Hell's Breaking Loose, Under the Gun, and No No No, Come On, other songs. Carr stated that he thought writing lyrics was harder than writing music. Besides drumming, Eric also did play guitar, bass guitar, piano, and he also sang backing vocals. And occasionally he did sing lead vocals as well, like he did in the songs Black Diamond and Young and Wasted, live with the band. His first lead vocals in studio was on a re-recording of the song Beth, originally sung by Peter Criss, the band's former drummer. They recorded the song with Eric Carr's vocals for the 1988 compilation album called Smashes, Thrashes and Hits. In 1989, Carr recorded a demo with Kiss then lead guitarist Bruce Kulick. Carr wrote the music for it and played bass and drums, while Kulick played the guitar. Eric wasn't a proficient lyricist or lyricist, I don't know how you pronounce that. So he presented the demo to Gene Simmons. Simmons then wrote new lyrics, which Carr recorded for the subsequent Hot in the Shade release. The song was released as Little Caesar. He performed the song a few times, but it was not performed beyond the first month of the tour. Eric Carr's last live performance with Kiss was on the 9th of November in 1990 in New York City at Madison Square Garden. As a replacement member, Carr was an employee with no vote, and he was also not paid as much as the other members. Unlike the 4 founding members, they shared profits and they had voting rights that were equal. Through the years, unfortunately, Eric Carr's lower rank was a pain for him. He felt excluded and unfairly treated, and he didn't feel like he was worth as much as the other members of Kiss. He also wasn't allowed to share a limousine with Gene and Paul. He only got minimal exposure in videos such as Kiss Exposed VHS, that's really hard to say in English. In Sweden you just say VHS, not VHS. It's a hard word. Eric's face was also partially cropped out of the Asylum album cover. Carr grew frustrated and unhappy with the other band members as he felt ditched by them during his 1991 hospitalization. Peter Criss listed Eric Carr as one of the people that Stanley and Simmons drove mad. Carr was, quote, was reduced to sitting in his hotel room naked with the blinds all drawn, drinking and refusing to come out. The last recording that Eric did with the band was for the song God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, where he was featured as backing vocals. The last time that Carr ever worked with Kiss was in July of 1991, when Kiss filmed the video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You, with him playing drums. Carr's last public appearance with Kiss was at the MTV Video Music Awards in September of 1991. Carr was a powerful, hard-hitting drummer, and he was one of the first drummers to adapt to the classic 1980s snare drum sound, a highly reverberated and low-tuned sound. In his resume that he sent to Kiss in 1980, Carr stated that his drumming style ranged from heavy metal and hard rock to pop and new wave, claiming that he could adapt to most situations easily. He listed drummers John Bonham, Keith Moon, and Lenny White as his influences. Carr was a big fan of the Beatles and, of course, the band's drummer Ringo Starr. In an interview, Carr stated, quote, "I was caught up in the whole Beatlemania thing. I guess I was attracted to the drums because of the feeling of the rhythm and how it moved you. Just sitting in your seat. I loved the way Ringo moved. I identified with him at the time." Carr's interest in double bass drumming came from his admiration of Ginger Baker and John Bonham. He once told 16 magazine, quote, "I just loved the way John Bonham played drums." Eric loved all types of music. Songwriter Adam Mitchell once described him as knowing a lot about folk and R&B and other non-rock styles, so he didn't only know a lot about rock and roll, he knew a lot about other music styles as well. Carr told USA Network interviewer Al Bandero in 1983 that he listened a lot to Neil Young and liked many types of music. Gene Simmons stated that Carr's harder drumming style pushed Kiss into becoming a heavier band than it was before, when the jazz-inspired Peter Criss was the drummer for the band. In February of 1991, Carr started to feeling ill. Medical tests did initially show signs of manageable health concerns. However, further testing revealed that he suffered from heart cancer. In April of 1991, Eric had surgeries to remove tumors in his right atrium and in his lungs to restore heart function and to prevent the cancer's growth.
Oh! Anyway, well, here I am, folks. This is rock drummer Eric Carr talking to you 3 days after open heart surgery to remove a little alien in his heart. And I wish I could zoom it in, but there's nobody here to do that. But you can see the scar right there, and my girdle, you know, the girdle I'm gonna have to keep anyway. That was just something that they suggested because I was putting on a little bit of weight. No, just kidding. And I have my Walkman that's attached to me that plays my heartbeat, so that, you know, it's cool, it's continuous, it plays all night long, I hope. And that's about it. So this is the way I look. Hope I haven't disappointed you. If anyone ever sees this tape, peace, love, and soul. No, rock on. And for everybody that sent me gifts and stuff like that and at least thought about me and was concerned, thanks a lot, and I really appreciate it. And I'll be back to kick your asses again as soon as I can. I can't wait to get back and play drums, man. Because this sucks. Look at this place. Anyway, that's it. So I'll see you. Bye-bye. Now you can watch me moan and groan as I go towards you and get out of here. So I'll see you. Uh-oh. They're calling for me. Bye.
Soon after Carr's diagnosis, Simmons and Stanley replaced him with session drummer Eric Singer to begin recording for the band's upcoming album Revenge. After recovering from several surgeries...
Hi everybody, this is Eric Carr, recent heart operation patient. I'm getting ready now. As you can see, I have a fungal finger. They didn't fix that. I am pouring the water into the cup. I am reaching for the instant bear right here. Not to be confused with uninstant bears.
That's not the instant bear you have.
This is?
No, it's not.
Oh, the boat, I'm sorry.
Instant boats.
The instant boats. Okay, let me get this. This is going to be like so corny, you know. So what we're going to do now, we're going to create a terrible tidal wave, and we're going to take the boat. In the story, a giant monster comes and grabs the boat and puts it into a different pile of water. Okay, and since water doesn't come in piles, that's very interesting. Now, what do you do when you have an instant boat, I ask you? What can you do?
What will you do?
Yeah, what will you do? Hey, you're alone.
It's never like a boat, but it knows.
You're alone in a kidney-shaped vat of hot water. You've got an instant boat laying next to you. What are your options? Ooh, bear feet. Oh! And look, you have an instant bear that is too big to fit on the boat, so the boat drowns and the bear drowns too. So there you have it. There's an instant bear. Whoops.
I prefer the bears.
An instant drunken bear in his little tiny boat. Wasn't that adorable?
That really, what can
That
I
was
say?
great. And wait a minute. And they went to do their part in the Gulf to help our troops. They went in there, but lo and behold, the Iraqis, they let loose the oil.
Carr pressed Simmons and Stanley to let him back in the band. They both refused. They have repeatedly stated that they instead told him to focus on his cancer treatments and that they would let him back in Kiss once he gained back his health. In mid-1991, Kiss was preparing to shoot the music video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too. Despite his bad health, Carr asked Simmons and Stanley to be in the video and they agreed. Eric flew to Los Angeles in July of 1991. At that point, Carr had lost his hair to chemotherapy and he was wearing a wig. After the music video shoot, he flew back to New York to receive further cancer treatments. His health at this point had deteriorated to the degree that he was no longer able to play the drums, so he could not play the drums for the recording of the album Revenge. So the replacement drummer Eric Singer did play the drums for this album instead. Not long after his last public appearance with Kiss, Eric Carr suffered an aneurysm and was rushed to the hospital. Several days later, he suffered a brain hemorrhage and never regained consciousness. On November 24th, 1991, Eric Carr died at the age of 41. He died at the same day as Queen's singer Freddie Mercury, and Mercury's death attracted more media attention than Carr's death. Carr had at the time been in a almost 4-year-long relationship with future actress and model Carrie Stevens. Because of Carr's love for his fans, the family decided to open his funeral service to the public while reserving the interment as a private event. Carr is interred in Cedar Hill Cemetery in Newburgh, New York. It was not publicized at the time, but Carr's death was considered controversial amongst his family and Kiss. Both Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley were labeled the bad guys by Carr for kicking him out of the band and not supporting him through his time in need. Simmons and Stanley were not made aware of this until they attended Carr's funeral. They were both treated with hostility by Carr's family and friends. Paul Stanley stated in his autobiography that the allegation of the mistreatment was simply not true and that he did what he thought was right to support him. Stanley admitted that he was uncontrollably sobbing during Carr's funeral and that he later regretted how he handled the situation. Former Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick, along with Carr's family, released Carr's first and only solo album in 1999 titled Rockology, which featured many demos that Carr and Kulick had worked on together along with Adam Mitchell. The CD features several songs with Eric on lead vocals, as well as on bass guitar and drums, Bruce on guitar, and Mitchell on background vocals. The Rockology album features songs such as Somebody's Waiting and Tiara, a song that Carr initially wrote for his planned children's cartoon show called Rockheads, a rock band parody. Carr is a relative of skater Perry Carvello, star of the cult film classic Windy City Heat. Eric Carr's family released an unfinished album of Carr's called Unfinished Business in 2011. It consists of 18 songs and it is 43 minutes long. The album features Carr's audition song Shandy. As a tribute, Kiss' 1992 release, Revenge, features what's said to be the only drum solo that Eric ever recorded with the band titled Carr Jam 1981. It's a jam session from the Elder album sessions. Eric had tried for several years to get his hands on a copy of the recording of the session of the solo for his personal collection, but he was always denied by Bob Ezrin, with the excuse that he did not know where the masters for the session were. The entire Revenge album was dedicated to Eric Carr, and he was also honoured in the Kiss My Ass and Kissology 2 videos. A circle of fans requested Kiss to have a tribute concert for Eric a year after his death, but they declined as they did not think it was necessary. So that was all the facts about Eric Carr. This video was very interesting to research. I wanted to do this video since before I did the Brian Connolly video, but I did know that this video was going to be long, and it's going to be long. Don't you worry, I've been recording now for 80 minutes. When I do these videos, I have a hard time to decide what facts are more important, because I want to tell the full story. I want to give you facts that you might not have picked up on before. But then again, the videos get so long, and as I said, I have a hard time to pick out these more important facts. But I did try, however, to give you the facts that made me like him so much, because I really do like him. There's so many people that loves Eric Carr still to this day. I mean, he died almost 10 years before I was born, yet he is one of my favourite members of all time in Kiss. He is my favourite drummer of theirs. I think what really got me into him was this one fact in the Kiss in Sweden book. Wait a minute. I actually have the book right here. It looks like this, and it's thick and it's long, but it has a lot of pictures, which is why it's very interesting actually. You have here, for example, Eric Carr is here, and it's about the, as I said, the all the Swedish visits that Kiss has made, from their first visit to Sweden to their 2013 visit that they made to Sweden Rock. My brother was actually there, my little brother. He was there, he saw Kiss in real time. He was only 11 years old at the time, so he was going in there free. I was 13, so it was not free for me. So I unfortunately did not see them that time. And I hope that I will see them sometime. Maybe I won't because they are getting old, but maybe. However, it was this one thing about the bracelet that really got me into liking Carr so much. He's just so likable. He was so likable. He seemed like such a warm person. He seemed like he had such a big heart, honestly. And yeah, just so down to earth. He loved his fans so much so that his family decided to have an open funeral service for him because they knew that that was what he would have wanted. He was such a beautiful soul, I think, and he was taken way too soon. I had such a hard time when I was writing down the facts about him. I had a hard time not to cry when I read about him losing his hair and him dying, and during this process he felt so unwanted and so ditched by these guys that he had spent so much time with for the past 10 years. And that's really sad. It's really sad. And he deserved better. He truly did. But anyhow, I truly hope that you liked this video, and if you did, maybe consider supporting this channel. The Rockstar Facts video, Dead Rockstar Facts videos do take a lot of time to make, like I've said before. So it's much appreciated when you like, when you comment, and when you give me feedback maybe. And if you like Eric, if you loved Eric, maybe if you were even there during his years in Kiss, maybe you even saw him live, please give me your story in the comments, because I love to hear stories from you people that were actually there. You know, when I hear stories about when you people have been to Sweet concerts, when you have met members of the Sweet, that is so exciting to hear, because I was not there and I could not meet them and I could not see them. And it's the same with Kiss and with Eric Carr. So please, if you have any stories, anything, if you went to any of their gigs, if you were on any of their tours back in the day when Eric was in the band, please drop your story in the comments, because I would love to read it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video if you want to. Bye.